Spurs. We're back after a long layoff. Listen, the most important thing is that Spurs remain Spurs, but Tottenham Hotspur, ComeonyespursTV is back with a bang. I say with a bang, but hey, let's wait until the end. I've got with me Chuma today. Chuma has been on sabbatical, like me. He's back. Welcome back, Chuma. How are you?
I'm super. I was on loan at Madrid actually, and after successfully winning the Champions League, I decided to come back to Spurs.
I know. I mean, it's one of those things
So it was
that
a
say
successful
that
loan spell.
What happened between when we were away and when we came back? A lot of things have happened in that time, haven't they? Real Madrid have won the 14th time. Is that right, or 15th time?
No.
Tottenham.
Yeah, 14th.
Yeah, I mean Tottenham lost against City. Plenty of aggravation.
Tottenham didn't win it.
I know, right? And
you say Real Madrid won it, so contrast that Tottenham didn't win anything.
Yes, and the guys up the road bottled it as always. So happy. I mean, some fans are happy with that, not because we lost, but hey, because they bottled it. Oh dear. All right, Chuma. I mean, Tottenham under Ange, first season. Of course, we're going to award marks and think how things have gone in terms of acquisitions, in terms of, different parts of the season. The early part, first 10 games, the next 10 games, and of course, towards the tail end of the season. And of course, how Spurs have sort of performed. We had this streak when we lost about 4 or 5 matches on the trot, and it was looking bleak and dire at some point during that time. And we had a chance to go, possibly still 4th place, but again, there's been a lot happened over the course of the season that we created plenty of drama and interesting talking points. We'll just sort of take over look back, if you like, at the season and come up with the ComeonyespursTV verdict for Spurs season. What do you reckon?
Yeah, no, it was a great start to the season. You and I we're wondering how long it will continue for. The biggest thing in the summer was Harry Kane, would he stay or would he go? We realized Harry Kane was going to leave. Harry Kane did eventually leave, and that was, everyone predicted that Spurs would be in the middle of the table or the bottom half of the table. Some said relegation, are now all revising their statements so that it didn't come to pass. But yeah, it was looking bleak. Preseason was hindered by adverse weather conditions in Thailand, and yeah, it was looking like a mess. You would only play 2 games. We came back and played 1 game. Harry Kane scored 4 goals in that game, and the next day he was off. So it looked really bleak at the start, but you could see the change in the style. Ange Postecoglou, very attacking, very proactive, very front foot. Everything was looking rosy, and then Tottenham just went on this run of winning games and not losing. And the first 10 games of the season, Tottenham were literally quote unquote champions, if you believe in that sort of thing. But the rest of us are like, look, we're enjoying the style, we're enjoying the positivity. Some of us were especially enjoying Ange Postecoglou's philosophy in terms of his press conferences were like philosophical works of art, where he would bring out these motivational and developmental speeches that we call the Yannings in the Nigerian group, Yiannapolis. Different names because he just comes out with all these wonderful. He's like I think Ange developed into like the most specific manager I think in the league. Like everyone just has a quote, and everyone always ends it with a mate here, mate there. He's like everybody's favorite uncle, and for good or bad reasons. Some people are using it to mock him, other people use it to praise him. But the football's good. Tottenham were finding solutions attacking wise. Everything was spurring up until the Chelsea game. The Chelsea game, I think, was a turning point in the beginning half of our season, where not only did we get players sent off in Romero and Udogie, but then Maddison and Van der Ven came down with injuries, and those injuries were like precursor to everything else that happened to us injury wise. And our season went into like a lull, not too great, not too bad, but with the style still continued. And then it came to the final part of the season, the run-in, which was always going to be difficult. We were facing everybody that's quote unquote a big boy in the league, and how would we do? And Tottenham ended up losing games, and some of them I don't think we deserved to lose, especially, but we lost these games, and we battled on to the end of the season. We had a very good game against Manchester City that, in the eyes of those people down the road, was pivotal in them losing the season, regardless of the fact that they lost the game to Aston Villa that they should have won. They could have won. But we still went out to play. In that game against Man City, you felt, yeah, exactly. And you felt there was this, almost, that was the first time we almost saw friction between the Tottenham fan base and Ange Postecoglou, because certain fans were willing the team to lose and lose heavily to Man City. Some others were saying, no, we should go out and win. We have a very good chance of winning. And the manager echoed the latter group in that he wanted to win that match. And, to be honest with you, I was caught in the two camps. I was happy. I was very happy to see us attacking, pushing them back. At the same time, I was like, look, if these guys win this league title, London will not be a nice, quiet place ever again. So I was caught in two minds until they scored their first goal. I smiled.
The point about that was that I was firmly in the camp of those who said that we had to win that match against City to give us a good chance of qualifying for Champions League. Because I wanted us to have that Champions League experience for this young team, if you like. It was be like some sort of really good experience for us, regardless of how we perform when we get into that. Some people felt like, okay, maybe it may be even better for us to sort of slowly progress until we are ready, in quotes, for Champions League, rather than get thrown in at this point when the squad is still really developing, if you like, under Ange. And Ange's system hasn't really taken hold, But it might be one step too far. However, I didn't want to sort of listen to the narrative of what's going on down the road, regardless of what happens to them. I just wanted us to win, And I guess some folks have this really deep hatred of the guys up the road that look so much so that they rather lose, if you like, than them winning. I don't fall into that category at all. I'm sorry, I mean, I'm sorry we lost to City. I mean, I'm so well. On the other hand, I am so happy that the outcome meant that they didn't win. I hope that makes sense. That's a big difference between us.
No, I fully subscribe. I thought we played full football. I think also one of the things that has been a running theme throughout the season is the fact that Ange Postecoglou is quite dogmatic with his philosophy. He doesn't change for anybody. He inverts his fullbacks. He plays from the back. He has a high line. And people were saying, look, if you could just adjust that just a little bit, Spurs have a great doing more.
Well, so I mean, you're right. I think people have this notion that Ange maybe should have altered his tactics on some occasions to accommodate the team was playing against, or adjust the system because they felt that playing the same system meant that people could read you, and once they read you and sort of stacked up the tactics against you, they would obviously, I mean, trigger and make inroads and hurt us. And some people point to the Newcastle game, for instance, when we lost 4-0 away to them, to that same system of saying the Newcastle sort of got the handle of the way we played, and because of that, they were able to execute and score their goals, and you make a difference. But it's one of those matches when, if you don't take opportunities, you get the scoreline didn't reflect what happened in the match in any way, shape, or form.
No, and I think the issue was also squad depth, because we played Emerson Royale at back.
Yeah.
And it was for me. I felt Plan A is brilliant. His Plan A is brilliant. His Plan A works. He needs better players to play Plan A. But in the absence of better players, And slowly he discovered, he was quite reluctant to use Van de Ven as a left back and playing Dragusin as a centre back. And his reluctance was based on Van de Ven's injury problems because of his hamstrings. This is according to Ange Postecoglou. But he eventually buckled to do it. And lo and behold, we had good defensive performances leading up to the end of the season. So everyone now comes back to hit him. But the reason he didn't was, Van de Ven has I'll say suspect hamstrings. And the fact he gets to do a lot of running back and forth. Ironically, I was watching the Dutch game, the last friendly before the Euros, and he's playing at left back for Holland. So it's a very interesting one. Ronald Koeman is saying, I don't invert. So I let him run up and down the flank. And Van de Ven was almost man of the match in that game they played. They beat Canada or something. And it was really, really good. So for me, I give Ange Postecoglou a serious B+. I'd even give him an A because it's a 180 degrees change of style from what we've had with previous managers. And he did it in a short space of time with reduced preseason, and he's done it so well with so much class, without complaining, without whining, without demanding from the board. The only thing he demanded was from the fans after the City game, where he came up against the fans and said, look, the mentality I'm trying to instill is different from this thing. The beauty of it, like I said to you before, is he doesn't see failure. He sees the opportunity to learn, to be better, to not fail that same way twice. Then he also looks at it this way, that he doesn't want to consider another team as being an impediment in his journey. He looks at them, I don't want to think about them. I want to think of myself. I want to think about how good I be and execute, so I don't have to think about it. Us thinking about Arsenal is something he wants to eradicate from our lives. Us don't think about Spurs. Well, not in that way. Because in their opinion, and to be fair, without any Spurs goggles on, Arsenal have achieved a lot more than Spurs have. In this century or the century before, they have. So they don't really consider us. They consider Manchester United, City, and Liverpool as their rivals, not Spurs. But Spurs look at Arsenal as rivals, when in reality, Spurs should be running on their own to now put themselves up against those other guys as well, to go, hey, we're here. We're here to compete as well. And I think that's what he wants. And I hope he achieves.
Yeah, I think I'm the eternal positivist anyway. So I'm hoping very, very strongly that this next season will bring a lot of improvement in many areas, especially in the squad depth. And as I understand it, of course, we'll run a program later on about what's happening in terms of the transfer window. We're probably going to do something on the Euros, and just basically just to bring us up to date and get us back into the groove. We're grateful for your support. Subscribe, like, comment, and share with your community. And let's continue to bring you good quality content. The only thing that keeps us going is your support, and we very much appreciate it. So yeah, please go on and share. Chuma, absolutely amazing. End of season marks for the team. What do you reckon? If you say overall on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give the team as marks for performance over the course of the season?
It was because of the fact that we have lived under this counter-attacking, reactive football. Not that it was all bad. Reactive football wasn't always bad. We worked a lot of things under Mourinho and even under Conte. I can give them that. I can give Conte a lot of credit as well. But ultimately, changing style to what I think is more what Tottenham is, and doing it in such a short space of time, and the way the players adapted, even when they didn't suit the particular football. Some of them don't suit this football at all, and they will be moved on. They still acquitted themselves very well. I give them an 8 out of 10. It was an 8 out of 10 season for the squad. For the manager, probably a 9 out of 10 for what he's done and accomplished so far.
It would be lovely to hear from you guys at home, wherever you're watching this, what you think in terms of performance for the team for overall for the season, and of course for Ange Postecoglou. And of course, I mean, if you have any stand-up members of that team, who would you consider? I know Van de Ven was voted player of the season by fans across, I mean, in the club. But in your view, who will be your player of the season?
I would say Romero, because this is the first time Romero. I think he only had one red card in the whole season,
Yeah.
and he was defensively and I think he was amazing. His burst forward were just on. He was playing striker sometimes, some evenings,
I
and he
know
was so
it's
assured. You can
yeah.
you can tell, like I can tell that I can tell in my heart of hearts, I can tell that Real Madrid are preparing themselves for him. I feel it in my spirit that Real Madrid are preparing, and I hope, and God forbid he leaves us now. But I think Real Madrid have earmarked him because that guy is imperious. He's world class defender, and he's only going to get better. Same as Van de Ven, but he's ahead of the curve over Van de Ven. So Romero
Beautiful.
to me was the guy. Van de Ven number two, two central defenders best.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll probably
What
agree
about
with
yourself?
you. I probably agree with you with that about Romero. I mean, he was a standard performer, and I mean, he wasn't out injured once, was he? I mean, he was out there all the time, giving
No.
110% throughout the season. When he was fit, he was always available and was always selected. So, I mean, amazing, amazing, amazing performer. Guys at home, we would love to hear from you and see who was your man of the season. And yeah, young player of the season was Udogie, wasn't he? Even though he got injured towards the end of the
Oh,
season.
definitely,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, so very, very, very well deserved. I think he's going to come back even much more stronger next season. They had a patch when
Yes.
Maddison was playing out of the skin before his injury, and then when he injured and then he came back, he hasn't been the same. Same with Bentancur. Kulusevski hasn't really performed to his heights that we saw him perform in the first season under Conte. And but I think there's still a lot there in Kulusevski. So in my view, we still have plenty to see in that regard. People have been critical about Bissouma, especially towards the post Luton performances after he got the red card in Luton, and there have been a lot of people saying that nah, he's not good enough and all that sort of thing. But I actually think he's a really good player, and he started well at the start of the season. I'm pretty sure that he'll go
Yeah.
discover that form. Later, he saw flashes of it towards the end of the season. I think when he played against City and saw those forward Boston runs, how he sort of turned and just basically lost players in the middle of the park and just made intelligent forward passes. And I think we're going to see that much more of that again in the coming season. I'm looking forward to the preseason. I know this preseason is again Asia bound, or mix of Asia and coming back to England. I think there's some matches with lower league teams. I think at QPR and all that. So plenty to
Yeah.
look forward to
Yeah.
in the preseason. Come back and then we'll discuss those. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for your continued support, and we look forward to seeing you in due course. In the meantime, come on, you Spurs.